Hello folks, this is Refath Bari from Dharavi. This is one of the largest slums in Asia. In fact, it's the largest slum in the world with over 1 million inhabitants in the slum. Right now I'm standing in front of Gausya Masjid where I will soon pray. Now before I pray, I want to share a heartbreaking story that I heard from a father in Dharavi, Pushdeep. So Pushdeep was a textile mill worker in Dharavi, and he used to work from night to day, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. But he was always in debt, no matter what. His debt just wouldn't stop growing. So he decided to put his children to work. His eldest son, 13 years old, Prandeep, was also a textile mill worker, and he used to work from 9 to 12.
आप इसको पे कितना करेंगे? आप इसको कितना पैसा देंगे?
अभी तो नया नया है बहुत पगा देंगे। अरे उठाना हो जाए पीड़ा दे पहले पीड़ा दे पहले।
His father, so heavily burdened with debt, decided that his son should work even more. Requested his son's employer if he could work overtime. Prashdeep thought that this would solve his debt problem. And in fact, it was starting to solve his debt problem very soon. He was starting to earn more and more money. But then suddenly, on January 5th, something heartbreaking occurred. He learned that his son had broken his arm in the swindle of the textile machine. Now this is a heartbreaking story for any father or mother. But it was even worse for Prandeep, because he realized that his debt wouldn't stop going. He realized that he lost his son, and he realized now money meant nothing. He had no more family, he had nothing to lose, and so this is the sad story of one depressing father.
What if the terror of coronavirus attacked Dharavi? This is a question I fear to ask, and one I regret to answer. Social distance does not exist in the most densely populated area on the planet, Dharavi.
This is the story of hope. A mother named Rohan in Dharavi was working one day in the textile mill. Suddenly, her hand got caught in the sewage machine. Now, what her job was to put the leather on the machine so that the machine could press the leather into a flat surface. But by accident, she had left her hand on the machine for just more than 1 second, and the machine crushed her hand. Now, the result was devastating. Her hand was crushed to bits, and she had to be admitted to the hospital later that day. She had to be prescribed painkillers, and eventually Rohan became addicted to the painkillers. In fact, they became so strong to her that she couldn't resist. She went to the pharmacist for once, twice, thrice, and eventually she kept going to the pharmacist for at least 6 times a day. And because of that, her household savings, all of it, was wasted on getting drugs and becoming addicted. Now finally, where does the hope come from? Well, during her addiction, she had neglected her children, and their education went to hell, and so did her household savings. So eventually she found a way, Rohan found a way to escape the cycle of addiction and to escape thus the cycle of poverty. And soon she escaped the drugs, and she became free of the painkillers, and she admitted her children into a school with a curriculum in English. This is how you escape the cycle of poverty. By learning English, by educating your children, and by educating yourself, and by taking yourself off from the cycle of poverty.
Dharavi is a slum home to 1 million people, and it's not uncommon to see 5 or 6 living in a closet-sized apartment. Dharavi is dense by design. The spaces are so narrow that people and cars walk on the same street. The drinking water is unfiltered, and often carries dust or fecal particles in it. And garbage is often thrown into a river that in turn pollutes the entire area. So, if coronavirus ravages America, it will bring civilization in a third world slum to its knees.
And this is the horrific story of one brother who was faced by an arcane Indian law that forced him to give up his house, his property, and his land. So, this is the story of Rohan. He was born in Punjab. In fact, he was a Punjab farmer, like his father and his father's father. So he inherited his father's debt of 3 lakh rupees. But of course, this was not new to him. This was for all Punjab farmers. They all equally shared this great debt. And thus Rohan had lost everything he had left in Punjab when he had left Punjab many years back. So he found out that despite all his education, despite all his hard work, he lost everything he had in Punjab. So what did he do? He decided to move to Dharavi, where he could learn a new trade and possibly make more money for his family. And given the low rent in Dharavi, only 1,000 rupees a month, he thought he could make a living for himself and his family. And that is the story of Rohan.
Those with weak immune systems are especially vulnerable to COVID-19. Again, the dwellers of Dharavi fit the bill crisp. Years of pollution, unsanitary water, and unregulated industry has all but scarred the immune system of millions. Stay home, socially distance yourselves, you say. But realize that staying home is a privilege that these people cannot afford. A river separates them from those who can. Million-dollar Bollywood executives who can't stand the sight nor smell of the slum dwellers. Under Modi's stay-at-home order, these people will die starving before the virus ever touches them. And so is the fate of millions of other slum dwellers at this moment. They risk suicide going to work and risk starvation staying at home. It is only a matter of time before the virus arrives. A question of when, not if. When that time arrives, the infected will start small. They will look harmless, but in the days upcoming, it will spread like wildfire. A fire that no money or politician can stop. We must stop that fire in the time we have left.
This is the story of education and the power that education has to change the world. So one day I was walking along the streets of Dharavi trying to see what was happening inside the homes. And suddenly I saw a girl. All around her, she was only 4 by the way, 4 or 5. All around her were books. Go ahead, take an interview. Can I see the sentences you wrote? And I saw no parents. She was just lying around on the steps of her home. So I went up to her and I asked her what she was doing. We are not well, our digestion is affected. So can you read one of the sentences for me? Please? Can you read this sentence for me? She told me she was trying to solve math problems. So I went ahead and thought, what could it hurt to give her a math problem? And I asked her, what's 1 plus 1? She responded by saying 2. So I thought, let's take it a step further. I asked her 2 multiplied by 4. Now for many of you viewers, this may seem elementary for a child who is 4 or 5 years old. But for a child of Dharavi, the largest slum in Asia, this is no joke. Most kids don't even know how to speak English, forget about knowing how to do math. So I thought maybe this is a miracle. maybe this is just a one-time thing. So I asked her, 4 times 5. She told me 20. She drew the dots out. I asked her 6 times 8. It took her 3 minutes. She drew out all 48 dots. But in the end, she still came up with the right answer, 48. You know what that means? Can I give you a math question? Can I give you a math? Yeah. Can I use your pencil? How many dots? 4. Okay. So when I say 2 times 4, I say 4, 2 dots. So 1 2 dots, 2 dots, 3 2 dots, 4 2 dots. How many dots? 3. Okay. Okay. Can you try this? And I didn't know what to say because my myth that poor people were not intelligent was broken. I thought that she wouldn't be intelligent. I thought she would be just another symptom of poverty. I was wrong. I thought that her parents wouldn't be helping her. They would be neglecting her education. It turned out that her father was the one that bought the multiplication, the addition books for her. I thought that she would like the enthusiasm. But even after I left, she couldn't stop doing the multiplication problem. So this is a story of the power of education, even in the world's largest slum. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time in Dharavi.